Today we'll begin with Act 5, Scene 1. It is Belmont and an avenue to Portia's house. In this scene, we see that Lorenzo and Jessica, they are still in Belmont gazing at the night sky. They list off a bunch of things from Greek mythology that happened on nights like these. And Shakespeare's object here is to assemble in the minds of the audience several such events of romantic beauty from old classical legend, and thus to create the impression that they are looking on such a night of moonlight beauty as existed in all those images. So here, first of all, Lorenzo and Jessica, they refer to Troilus and Cressida. And Lorenzo says, the moon shines bright in such a night as this, when the sweet wind did gently kiss the trees, and they did make no noise. In such a night, Troilus methinks mounted the Trojan walls, and sighed his soul towards the Grecian tents, where Cressida lay that night. So the reference to Troilus. Now this refers to a tale of ancient Troy. Troilus was son of Priam, and Cressida, whom he loved, had been taken to the camp of the Greeks who were besieging Troy. So here Troilus is depicted as sadly walking on the walls of Troy and looking towards the tent of the Greeks where they had kept Cressida that night. So here is the reference to Troy. Then Jessica says, in such a night did Thisbe fearfully overtrip the dew and saw the lion's shadow himself and ran dismayed away. So again there is a mythological allusion, and they are referring to Thisbe and Pyramus. Now this is the story behind it. Pyramus and Thisbe were lovers in Babylon, and they had made an appointment to meet each other at night beside a certain tomb. Now Thisbe arrived first, and she saw a lion waiting there. So she fled in terror, leaving her cloak behind on the ground. And the lion took her cloak in the mouth, and there were stains of blood on it. So when Pyramus arrived and he saw the blood-stained cloak of his beloved, he thought that Thisbe is dead, and he slew himself. And later when Thisbe returns and finds him dead, she also commits suicide. So this is the story of both the lovers. Then moving further on, Lorenzo says, in such a night stood Dido with the willow in her hand upon the wild sea banks, and wafted her love to come again to Carthage. Now the third reference is to Aeneas and Dido, and this story was told by Virgil in the Aeneid. Now Aeneas was the great Trojan warrior who founded the city of Rome, and during his voyages means sea journeys, he landed in Carthage, where he met Queen Dido, and they both loved each other. Then after several months, in the Carthage for several months, he sailed away and left her broken. And then finally she killed herself. So they are imagining that on such beautiful night, Dido, on a beautiful moon night, she, like the present, must have walked sadly with a willow in her hand. Willow is the flower which is symbol of deserted love, and she must have walked with the willow in her hand, waiting for Aeneid to come back to Carthage. So this is the reference. Now again Jessica says, in such a night Medea gathered the enchanted herbs that did renew old Aeson. Again here is a mythological reference to Jason. Now Jason was a classical hero and Medea was his wife. She is said to have practiced enchantment. So she used to gather herbs of magical properties at night in order to restore youth of her aged father-in-law named Aeson. And in one twisted story, Jessica running away from her father Shylock to Lorenzo. So Lorenzo says, in such a night did Jessica steal from the wealthy Jew, that is Shylock, and with an unthrift love did run from Venice as far as Belmont. So they are referring to themselves. And Jessica here teases that Lorenzo swore his love for her but was full of lies. And Lorenzo also jokes that she is slandering their love, but he forgives her for it. And then they are interrupted by the approach of a messenger named Stefano, who says that Portia is on her way to Belmont that night. And oddly, she, means Portia, keeps stopping to pray along the roadside at holy crosses. Now Jessica and Lorenzo declare that they should go home to welcome Portia. Here they are interrupted when Lancelot enters the scene, and he finally tells Lorenzo that he has got a message announcing that Bassanio will be home before morning. So Lorenzo and Jessica, they still hang out listening to music and gazing at the stars. They are speaking about the power of music. But the scene shifts to Portia and Nerissa, who are also philosophizing about music. Portia sees a candle in her house and marvels at how far its little light shines. Lorenzo then hears Portia's voice and they greet each other. Portia quickly reminds everyone that she and Nerissa were off praying for her husband's well-being. Now, hearing from Lorenzo that the two men are on their way home that same night, Portia tells Nerissa to make sure that make no mention of their absence from the house. And she instructs Lorenzo and Jessica also to do the same. Just then we hear the trumpet announcing Bassanio's approach. Here we see Bassanio then enters with Antonio and Gratiano. Now there is much chaos on as Bassanio introduces Antonio to Portia, who welcomes him graciously. And on the other side, Gratiano can be heard having a little squabble with Nerissa about having given away the ring to the judge's clerk. And he says that she is not a woman to whom I have given a ring. It is a man. He insists that he gave the ring to the young boy who begged for it as a fee for his service. And Portia backs up Nerissa, pointing out that she also gave her husband a ring on the same promise that he would keep it forever. And here both the ladies, they threaten their husbands that they won't sleep with them till they see the ring again. But Portia, she has the ring with her, and Antonio interferes and cuts off all the quarreling.